Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wanted for August 24th, 2024. It's Season 1, Episode 26. Today, we're going to be talking about an unbeatable MacBook, smart home gifts, Swiss Army knife flash drive, indoor smart gardens, real film Lego camera, a 240Z RC car, Ultra Gear gaming monitor, the Atari 7800 plays Atari 2600 games. The VWID Buzz is wanted, but at a price. And the Samsung Odyssey 3D. I am Mayor Watt, and that is the visualizer for the Sentient AI from the future.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens. Welcome to Wanted.
Everything is brought to you by ohmTown.com. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow us on Twitch and over on YouTube, and download the podcast and join the Discord. And there's a Patreon that we have plans for, but nothing's kicked off over there. But you can join us there. That would be really great. And if you want to support us, there's an option to support the channel there as well. All that in mind, be sure to go over to ohmTown.com and become a citizen. It is one of the many ways to know when we go live, and all the news that we aggregate. It's all over there. It's all over there. All roads lead to ohmTown, and back out, of course. See you soon. All right, folks, I'm going to get this out of the way lickety split. If you hit exclamation point and then want in the chat over on Twitch, it'll pull up all of the articles that we're going to talk about today. If you want the podcast, you hit exclamation point pod. Again, ohmTown's not connected to YouTube yet. And if you want all of the show notes syntax so that you can pull the news from the last episode, there's 4 shows tomorrow. There's 3 that were done today and non-sequitur news. So 4 shows today. We have one more show after this one. That's the continuity report. So be sure to stick around. But if you want all of the show notes, you just hit exclamation point show notes over on Twitch. All of these show notes are in each individual episode, and their playlist is right here on YouTube. I don't post them over on Twitch because I'm rewarded every 61 days with losing a large batch of shows. So
thanks a lot, Twitch.
Thanks, Twitch. Anyway, now Twitch is awesome. I like the interface. I like YouTube. It is what it is. I'd love to have more converged tools, but that's picking a fight with both platforms at the same time. Anyway, what I'd really like y'all to do, download the podcast, like over on YouTube, subscribe to us on Twitch and YouTube. But leave a comment, tell a friend. That helps us out in the algorithm dramatically. So please help us out. Okay, let's get into the show. Enough yabbering. Enough jibber jabber. Get off my land.
Can't have jibber jabber.
No jibber jabber here. And we are all news, no noise. Okay, so over on ohmTown.com, it's all news. There isn't user-submitted content to the actual feed of news in the categories. Can citizens of ohmTown submit? Yes. You can submit citizen news. We will go to the source, integrate it into the site, and that's what's submitted. But all the rest of the stuff that you find out on other social networks, that's ohmTown.com is not the place. ohmTown manages information overload in 6 main categories, 50 sub-channels. 7 of those, soon to be 8, are live shows. Non-sequitur news is the one that's most holistic. So I know this might be inside baseball for some people, but there are still many that are downloading the show either as a podcast or as a stream over on YouTube or Twitch. That's the first bite at this apple. So come and take some more bites. Anyway, the first article is over in Reality Hacker, the MacBook that Windows laptops still can't beat. I'm wondering, it says competitive. Windows laptops have become very competitive with MacBooks this year. but there's still one MacBook that still stands. And I am guessing it's the one MacBook that I regret selling, which is the 2015 MacBook Pro.
Could be.
So when you click this little link, visit the source, it'll take you over to Doink. Digital Trends is the source of this. Luke Larson is the author, and Windows laptops have been great so far, or have had a great year. Not only did we get the launch of Snapdragon X chips as part of the Copilot Plus PC line, which, no, Copilot can kiss my shiny metal butt, to compete with the MacBook Air, but the recent AMD Ryzen 300 AI chips are also impressive. All of this kind of stuff is actually pretty impressive. The technology, the evolution, it's great. But they're saying here, with powerful laptops like the ZenBook S16 taking on the MacBook Pro, dun dun dun. So more and more laptops aren't looking just like sufficient alternatives to MacBooks. They're actually trying to stay in the power. So let's see, what are they talking about? There's one MacBook that's still evading the purview of this new breed of Windows laptops, and it's not actually anything new. It's the M2 MacBook Air. Oh, that's actually running the laser. So yeah, I usually have it right here, but it's attached to a laser right now. And I agree, but to a point. In the new era of MacBooks, then yeah, this M2 basically like just tore out of the gate and crushed the competition. But if you look back in the Intel era of the MacBooks, I had a MacBook Pro that people they paid above market price to buy it from me.
Which is very interesting.
Yeah, they wanted that MacBook Pro real bad. So this laptop, this M2 MacBook Air, 2-year laptop, Apple still sells, remains an extremely attractive little device. 13-inch model officially starts at $1,000, considering it only comes with 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage. This is the one that I've got. In fact, the Surface laptop 7th edition starts at $1,000, but comes with twice the memory. But the efficiency of the operating system basically means that you don't need more than 8, unless you're really a power user, and then you would probably switch to a MacBook Pro, only because it has more capability. But it says, but here's the thing, you can currently buy the same configuration of the 13 M2 MacBook Air for as low as $800. And if you're in academia, if you're a student or an instructor, you can actually get $100 off of that.
I mean, that's a good discount.
Yep. And so that's $200 off. It's significant, it says here. It's actually equivalent to what Apple charges to double your RAM, so you can actually bump it up. Of course, you're getting an older laptop with the M2. There's actually higher iterations of it out now, but you probably wouldn't care. I mean, honestly, the M2 is...
I mean, if it's that reliable.
Yep. And with its ecosystem, I think that it's a superior product for under $1,000. And it's a real computer. You want to avoid things like Chromebooks if you're a student in particular, because it doesn't give you the real working environment. Some people might think that I'm picking a fight about this, but depending on what you're doing, you're not using a Chromebook. So the affordability of an M2 MacBook Air even makes Chromebooks harder to recommend these days. And I wouldn't recommend them for academia or even, breaking out into the workforce.
Right, they're too bare bones, right?
They're just too limited, yeah. So yeah, it says for now you won't find a better laptop under $1,000 than the M2 MacBook Air, but you can get close, particularly with student-related deals, academic deals. Look around; your school might actually facilitate buying those. But let's keep moving on. I really like the Apple ecosystem. It's so easy to transfer information from one place to another, share information. Its level of build quality for me has always been superior than any Windows. I mean, I've got a Windows laptop down here too. The only one that I would probably go out of my way, and I'm waiting for the new architecture to come, would be the, what is it called? Oh, I just forgot the name of it. Damn it. Linus Tech Talks does. He's an investor in the company. It has
okay.
Doggone it. Oh, what do they call it? Framework. There we go. Thanks. Yeah, the Framework laptop. It has little modules, and it's user serviceable. And they're supposed to be releasing another version that has this. When is it actually coming out? Sorry. Yeah, they're supposed to be releasing a new model at some point. They may have actually already done it. That doesn't use an Intel or AMD CPU. More along the lines of the.
Are they going to use a vertical?
No. Hold on. I won't. I'm getting sidetracked, so I won't bother with this. But yeah, there's a different processor that's going to be used, and that's what I'm actually waiting for. But everything is user serviceable, so you can just punt parts out that you're like, I don't want to use this anymore, and you can just take it apart and replace a screen and get a higher resolution screen. You can upgrade video, you can upgrade storage, battery, all kinds of stuff, connections, and I've always loved that idea. So anyway, let's keep on moving. And remember, the name of the show is Wanted, and it's all about stuff that Mayor Watt wants, the AI wants, or somebody in the audience that might send a chat message and say, yeah, I want that. So feel free to throw something in chat. Happy to discuss it. And in fact, let me do this. Doink. Okay. So let's keep going. What else do we want? Well, you want a smart home gift, right? Or you want a gift for yourself. So where do we
Does
start?
that include the smart home?
It does. Yeah. I would love a smarter smart home. Although there are smart speakers all throughout the mayoral mansion that are dense. Just, yeah. They
Not very smart.
If you drop them, they would definitely make a hole, a divot. They're so dense. Anyway, from smart speakers to displays to home security cameras, these smart devices make some of the best smart home gifts. I would worry about giving somebody a home security camera as a gift, but let's get into this.
Plus, you'd have to know what technology they're already using.
Yeah, like I got a very smart device as a gift for somebody, but I set it up. So I am like quasi in charge of this device at a distance. So, but it was to solve a problem that had been ongoing for years. So Desiree D'Annunzio, David Priest, and Molly Price put the article together for CNET.com. And they talk about the Philips Hue starter kit, which is now Matter capable. And so all you have to do is screw in the lights and it's easy peasy. I love this stuff. In fact, just the other day, I upgraded lights in a pantry with a motion sensor. So all you have to do is open the door and the lights turn on. And after 10 minutes of zero activity, everything turns off. So if you're just in and out, not a big deal. But if you're moving around in the pantry, they're always on. And they're controllable.
Cuts down on leaving the lights on.
Yep. And late at night, if you go in, you want a midnight snack, or you've got company over or whatever, and everybody's got mood lighting going, right? You're watching a movie or something, and you don't want a light just blasting out of there like a solar flare. At night, it stays at 10%. So your eyes remain adjusted to the ambient light in the room at night. So it's just smart. There you go. And so I always want more of these, but they're really expensive. Like sometimes these kits are 120 bucks or something like that. This one is 200, but it comes
Right.
with
I mean, the nice thing is you can use it for a long time, but it is a lot of expense up front.
yeah, I've never had, and this looks like it's the full range kit, and so it's full color, and so you have even a lighting that allows you to connect to create scenes and stuff like that. It's a real blast, particularly for like Halloween is a hoot, because you can sit there and play music that aligns with the lights, and they flicker and cause pretend
Right.
lightning
Make
and stuff.
quite a scene.
Yeah, do that for Christmas as well, Thanksgiving, everything. So always a win. Arlo video doorbell, I would probably, it depends on what your budget is, but with a little bit more investment, you could upgrade to something else. It also impacts your network though. So if you're really capped at $50, $50 is a great video doorbell. And it extends from just a dumb doorbell to a smart doorbell that does video and notifies you when people come home. And it is definitely affordable home security.
In fact, I would suggest that if you can only do one smart home feature, that might be the one to do.
Yeah. And just anecdotally, it actually comes in tremendously handy, because at one point, Mayor Watt witnessed what could have been possibly a crime, and notified the authorities, and they came in and interrogated somebody because a child was involved. And so these things document what goes on right outside the mayoral mansion, and it's not the only device, but you definitely want to be situationally aware. And some people are like, well, I'd rather be happily ignorant, but then again, I'd rather be aware.
Oh, you might want to know if somebody's walking through your property.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or there's an animal on your front doorstep or something, or any number of things.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a person, sometimes it's a bunny. Anyway, so the Nest Hub, it's $100. Depending on what you're using it for, it's interactive, so that you can get information and you can interact with other devices that connect to the hub. So like thermostats and stuff like that, in the Nest network of things. And if you have a more modern Nest thermostat, then it attaches easily. Older Nest thermostats do not. They're kind of... In fact, I've got a couple of cameras that predate the acquisition to Google, and they were bricked, wholesale bricked. Kind of like what the Anova... whatchamacallit, the cooker. What's that cooker called? The sous vide. The
oh yes,
Anova sous vide cooker. If you bought it as of 2 days ago, if you didn't have a Anova sous vide account and device, you now have to pay $5 a month. I think it's $5 a month. So yeah, you're kind of up a creek. You can't even use the Bluetooth stuff if you want to connect.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's really ridiculous.
Wild. Yeah. So embargo on. So anyway, Amazon Echo Dot, which is it's basically a smart speaker, but from Amazon versus like Apple or others. And then the Ring Alarm Pro. And then they have more down here, and I get lost in these lists. So if I don't move on, and like the AI is like, yep, you are already down the rabbit hole there, buddy. But I want a lot of this stuff, iRobot Roomba going around cleaning the house, the mayoral mansion would be great. Hey, Jake, thanks for following. Appreciate it. So Amazon Smart Thermostat, those are always brilliant and I don't know about Amazon per se, but smart thermostats are spectacular because they interact so regularly with the rest of the smart ecosystem. So for instance, I've got thermostats that are smart thermostats, but they also use tertiary devices to measure ambient temperature in various places, and then treat the mayoral mansion as if it's one homogeneous temperature, and turn on fans and turn on heat or cold and keep everything, at a certain temperature. So, oh my, that's
Yeah,
a
I
really
mean,
big
these are
question.
very useful to have, especially too, even if you're just out of the house at work or something, you can set it so it's not super cool in the house, but it cools it in time for you to return.
Yep. I'll have to get back to you here, Jake, in a second. And if it's okay, let me know in chat that it's okay to repeat your question and name you. And if you don't, then I'll just ask the question, or I'll answer the question and kind of paraphrase. But so Apple HomePod Minis, they're great for interaction, but boy, are they dense. And we're waiting for updates as to the quality of the responses when Apple AI kicks off. So we'll see what happens. And you should always upgrade your wireless technology. Right now, Wi-Fi 7 is the preeminent one. That's the ultimate, it's the ultimate one. And so if you stay with older technology, it suffers from updates, and it's not necessarily as secure. It's not necessarily as fast. You have to evolve your technology as well. So not every device takes advantage of Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7. But we just quickly, we were asked a question, what our biggest epiphany regarding science is. And I think it's a different Jake than State Farm Jake, but Jake asked the question, so thanks. What do you think? What do you think is your biggest epiphany about science?
I think how much is not known. Some of the discoveries that are reported in recent times seem like things we should have already figured out, and it's very clear in how they're reported. They have tons of additional research, but also I think the discoveries are accelerating because of the use of technology.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I would probably say the biggest epiphany regarding science is that we're moving at a rate where we can tie so many things together, and our only limit right now is money. And that's a self-induced wound, because if we would all focus on the innovation and utilizing new materials, and not, because the sunk cost for fundamental science has been borne largely by government grants. It supplements what private industry does, and a lot of fundamental science is done only in academic institutions, and then it spins off. And so that science has largely been paid for. Now it turns into, well, how do we recoup that money? But that money didn't come from the individual or the company. Yes, a lot does, but it's a different thing. When we're talking about science, it's fundamentally done through grants, because no company is willing to spend, billions of dollars on the potential of a project, whereas researchers do for academic processes, get published, maybe push the envelope, and we could have cars that drive 1,000 miles. But there's a profit motive there that limits it. So all kinds of health related stuff, unless there is for instance, there is a pandemic of overweight people on the planet. But shots for treating them, people that are overweight, cost $1,500 without insurance. So a massive contingent doesn't get it. Why? Because there's a profit motive. But the fundamental research that went into all of that, actually, we stand on the shoulders of giants, and so it's a sunk cost. And that profit needs to be reduced to a reasonable amount. You don't have to be a billionaire. And I'm not even I'm a capitalist. I believe in the capitalist motive of making money so that you can buy bigger and better and badder things. But at some point, there's a moral and ethical issue involved in that. And charging somebody that needs a medication thousands upon thousands of dollars when they don't have any bargaining power to say no or they die just seems sociopathic and antisocial. So I think that's the biggest thing for science is we've paid for it as a society, yet we are going to continue to have to pay for it just to gain access to something that we've paid for. And it doesn't just end here. I mean, this is a much bigger question than what I could probably encapsulate. And I've already spent 5-10 minutes trying to enumerate this. But yeah, that's a really fun question, a really big question, and probably one that will come up in technology, the technology show, Technology Today, tomorrow, which is another show of ours that we'll do tomorrow. So sorry, I'm wordy sometimes. Get on my soapbox. So let me fall off the soapbox and get back into this. This is the first time that I've seen an Amazon smart soap dispenser, and I had to draw attention to it.
I don't know what that does. I mean, is that one of those where there's a sensor and like maybe you would see in a commercial setting or something? But also, do pets set it off?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that would be freaky. So Jake, what about you? Feel free to answer in chat. And since you said it would be okay to say what you say, I'm curious. Maybe everybody would like to hear it. So unfortunately, this Amazon smart dispenser is out of stock. And this is almost a discussion that's going back and forth like the Non Sequitur show would, where we have a really highbrow conversation.
Right.
Stuck
on
into
top of a light article. And that's okay.
But yeah. I'm really curious what you have to say too. So I dig this. It says it features a 20-second timer for proper hand washing, which is especially helpful if you have young guests over. But yeah, is a cat or a cat. Dogs aren't going to jump up and trigger this, but a cat.
Maybe,
yeah.
But I mean, maybe they have to get in such a specific spot.
Well, I like this. Oh, here's that Disney music again. Let's keep moving. The next article is over in Reality Hacker. This flash drive became the Swiss Army knife to their gaming setup. The author is over at Digital Trends. It's an external SSD, looks like a flash drive, but performs like an SSD, and it's turned into a jack of all trades for their gaming needs. Doink. That's what it looks like. Pretty straightforward. Jacob Roach put the article together for digitaltrends.com. And they said this is easily the nerdiest thing that they've ever written, but they're a sucker for external SSDs. So is Merawatt. Seriously, they love the idea of tiny devices that store a massive amount of data. This is actually pretty chunky for some things. I have micro SD cards that are smaller than your pinky nail and store, gigs, terabyte. Yeah. At one point, I actually created a product that was nothing more than a whole bunch of USB drives or slots. You plug it into your computer and it gives you the way that I had planned it was 25 connections, which actually pushed the limit of USB. But instead of installing software, you take a drive like a cartridge, like a Nintendo cartridge, and you slot it in, and it automatically connects to the operating system and you can launch it. And then when you don't want it anymore, you just pull it. And it uninstalls, removes everything from the registry, all of this stuff. And then in testing it, people said that they didn't want to have all of these cartridges, little USB drives lying around. But then the technology got smaller and smaller and hard drive storage got huge. So it became a non-issue simply because of that. But I still to this day love the idea of not installing anything, and I can just plug a little card in.
Yeah, that would be pretty handy, as long as you don't lose it.
And it all stems from Cyberpunk, of the role-playing game Cyberpunk, not the computer one of modern era. We're talking about 35 years ago. So it says it's almost like this product was made exclusively for them, which is the SK Hynix Tube T31. And you can put all of your stuff on it, like your Steam library, and just take it somewhere and plug it in. So they say that they've been messing around with drives for about a week. They've already found homes for both of them. They're not going to give you the speeds of an NVMe SSD, which is what powers the Sentient AI from the future. But if you're looking for a portable solution with a ton of capacity, Tube T31 is easily one of the best SSDs that you can buy. So I don't know if they're talking about in terms of Lies of P, because of the branding, but ta-da, stick SSD, the speed, let's see, they say that they'd be satisfied with two 1 terabyte SSDs featuring artwork from one of the best games released last year, especially considering the price. But these include stickers and artwork from Lies of P, which is a game that people really fell in love with last year. Pardon me one second.
Yeah, I mean, this is really cool. Particularly if you're into this game or similar artwork.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, if you like this really highly detailed, the game was a blast to watch. I never really played it, but I liked the game's story and the artwork and the style of play. So it's kind of like a Souls-like game. So let's talk about the SSDs. That's what I'm actually interested in, not so much the game, because you can just buy the game and install it wherever you want. Hynix normally asks $100 for Tube T31, and this set of Lies of P versions come in at $200, but you get two 1 terabyte SSDs. So you can gift one, I suppose, if you know someone, but ta-da, that's what it looks like. So it's your standard USB-A connector. If you want anything faster than USB-A speeds, well, you're kind of out of luck. You're going to have to switch to an M.2 drive and put it in an external bay, an external drive case, and then just connect by USB-C. And I don't have any of my stuff here in front of me at the moment. It's a shame, but yeah, and that's what I do. I use external drives that are USB-C, so I can get 10 gig transfers and stuff like that instead of USB-A. So you're never going to get much faster than any of this. It's 1,000 megabit or megabytes. Small b is bits, capital B is bytes. So this would be the true transfer rate, megabytes, that most people are familiar with. But M.2s, you're getting up into 5,000, not one. So yeah, there you go. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, keep all of that in mind. Transfer speeds actually matter, but with transfer speeds increases, see, like this right here, it says you'll need full USB 3.2 Gen 2, which gets you 10 gigs. To get the full
right, so you have to make sure everything's compatible.
Correct. Yep. Otherwise, it'll step down to whatever the fastest is on that particular device's port. So there you go. $200, and if you're a fan of Lies of P, then you get a bunch of stickers and a couple of drives. Okay, let's keep moving. We're kind of behind in our schedule for the show, but we'll keep moving. So the next article is over in Wanted, the best indoor smart gardens for 2024. I'm into hydroponics. I actually created my own quasi-unique, I'd say. It's a spin-off of the Kratky method for hydroponics. So if you want to start your own garden, but you don't have outdoor space, or you live in a space where it might be threatened by predators, predation, or the weather, all kinds of stuff. Or your own pets, neighbors, who knows? Check out the picks for the best indoor gardens on the market. And so David Watsky put this article together for cnet.com, and I'll run through this real quick. So they say here the Click and Grow Smart Garden 3. It's an all-in-one unit. You basically put your seeds inside these little bays, and it has lighting on it, and it has a timer, and it lets you know when things need to get done. It's really simple. You can put your basil in it, and it'll sit there and grow. And then you just clip some off, and off you go. And eventually,
hard to beat that. And to have fresh basil too is pretty nice.
Yep. Then the Arrow Garden Bounty Elite. It says the best smart garden for herbs and salad greens. But okay, so these are indoor, basic style, like simple, low friction technologies that anybody can use in their kitchens or basement or wherever. You need lights. Some of them come with it. I don't know if the Arrow Garden Bounty Elite will, but I'll click the link and we'll come down to the bottom. But this actually looks like your standard Arrow Garden. Sprays it from underneath. It's a bucket that has water in it, and it just sprays water onto it. Which is
this one of the ones that like hangs upside down? Or not upside down, but just hangs.
Yeah, the roots hang from a basket down into either a liquid or a mist, and it's kind of like hydroponics, but it's aeroponics. Then they say the best smart garden for microgreens is this tiny little one called In Garden. It's $150. The most stylish, which style is pretty much, pretty arbitrary.
Very subjective. Yeah.
Very subjective. So what one person calls stylish, I would call gaudy. I would probably like this little Click and Grow Smart Garden 3 and get a couple of them and that's $100 versus $239. And you have this, which, to me, not necessarily what I'm looking for. Rise Single Hydroponic Garden is $600. This is a heavy lift. You can do quite a bit with a lesser amount. And is probably
I was
smarter.
Going to say you might not want to start with that, just in case you're not really into in-home gardening.
And then they kind of push it. Best vertical indoor smart garden. You have to worry about pets and stuff like that because they'll climb onto this stuff. But vertical farming is brilliant because it has a narrow footprint. So you go vertical and it has little bays in it, and you put your seeds in there and it waters from the top down. Everything drips down and it recirculates, kind of like aeroponics. But then they say another option for microgreens, and you can actually grow microgreens in all of this stuff. But microgreens have a particular window of operation. They come with all the nutrients you want built in. You don't actually have to give them nutrients in their water. But if you do, then they keep more of their built-in nutrients because they don't have to go foraging for it or consume the stuff that's inside them, inside their seeds. But when microgreens grow right up until their first leaves, you snip them and consume them fresh. So you can do that with pretty much anything in this. But big garden for small places, they call it the garden. It's $849, and I'd say that that's a heavy lift. But the Chef and Microgreens grower is this small, low profile. When the stuff grows a couple inches above the surface of the tray, you could probably just sit there and take a knife and
Right, I mean, that'd be really handy. You're making a salad, here you go.
Yep. Oh, wow. Replace your doom scrolling habit with a new and more productive hobby like gardening. You can literally touch grass in your own kitchen. And this is the easy peasy one, right? You just throw some seeds in there and timer clicks on, it grows, clicks off, and eventually
super easy.
This is a considerable amount of time investment, though. 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get stuff like this big. But it says the best smart garden for herbs and green salads is the Arrow Bounty Elite. So they have pictures, and essentially it's these little bays, and it could be net pots sitting in here. I don't know if that's what they actually use, your standard net pots. Not neti pot, that's a different animal. Cleans out your
No, very
nose.
different.
But these little net pots, they have some soil in them. You put, yeah, and this is lavender that's going to grow in 8 to 21 days. And it all sprays from underneath. So everything is contained.
And think how many people buy lavender just for the lavender scented items.
Yep. You could just grow it. And on it goes. So if you want to read more about this and see it firsthand, then follow the link through ohmTown. Go check it out. Again, it's real easy. All you have to do is, for this show, hit !want, and it will pull all the articles again. And you can click any of those links. Over on YouTube, though, it'll be in the show notes after the show because I don't have ohmTown attached yet. All right, let's keep moving, though. Moving on. And frankly, I could do another show. I actually have a show called Greenogram, which may kick off.
We have a channel, right?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
But not a show yet.
We have a channel on ohmTown.com called Greenogram. Where did I put it? There it is, right there, which focuses on like microgreens and being eco-friendly and recycling and stuff like that. But it isn't preachy. It's more talky because we talk about the news and don't necessarily give demonstrations and stuff like that. But we give, we talk about it both from the news side of things and the anecdotal side of things because Mayor Watt lives it. So, well, tries to. And the Sentient AI from the future keeps Mayor Watt in check.
I try.
So the next article, and this is something that I truly want, even though I'm not really a real film camera person anymore, right? I've been digital for so long that I can't even remember.
I was going to say, do you even remember when or if you even had a film? I know you've had a film camera. But...
Yeah. I switched to a Nikon like 25 years ago, digital camera, and yeah. So, and actually, no, like I was introduced to it back close to 30 years ago, maybe longer, because there was a person that came into the shop that I worked at with a camera that was $25,000 for the body, and then another $25,000 for what was referred to as a data pack, a full frame camera, and then you slap this digital contraption on the back of it. It's insane. Anyway, you can make a real film Lego camera a reality, and it's because it wants support. This is a week article. The article came out on the 19th, between the 18th and 19th, and so it's a weekly show, so this is kind of older. But the article is over at gizmodo.com. Kyle Barr is the author, and it is a fully functional 35mm camera made up of just 595 Lego pieces. It needs your support on Lego ideas to become a purchasable set. And I would love to have this.
Yeah, that's really cool. Lego Ideas is a neat line. It's all like community
driven, yeah.
Initiated
supported.
And right? Yeah.
Everything. Yep, it's entirely user driven. So the ZH1 has a classic looking shell, much like the recent Fujifilm X100 VI, single lens point and shoot camera. The lens is actually a Lego magnifying glass, and the back cover is set on a hinge that allows you to load a ream of film into the camera, and there's a winding knob, a rewind knob, a shutter button, and even an accessory shoe. So you can put a light on it. That's a trip. So all of it is actually Lego pieces.
That's so neat.
The project creator Zhong Huang showed on his Instagram page how simple it is to use, and they first spotted the camera via Hackaday in 2023. In the intervening year, the creator has been trying to push the project on Lego Ideas. As of writing, it has less than a little more than 9,000 supporters and has 30 days left. So again, this came onto our radar initially on August 19th, so it has less than a month, to get 10,000. After that, it's up to the Danish toy company to review it, consider whether it's worth producing a full set. Lego currently sells a recreation retro camera with 261 pieces. Instead of a real roll of film, that $20 set comes packed with a length of simulation film with small picture windows. But this would actually be a fully functional 35 millimeter camera.
Wow.
Yep. So when you think of do-it-yourself cameras, you might think of something like the $40 Constructor Flash SLR DIY. That comes with a sprue frame. You need the clip and then build yourself. The nature of Lego means that you're already familiar with other kits. Creating a brick-based camera should be a cinch. So, boom. Yeah. Pretty neat. That's the photography that it takes?
Oh, I guess so.
Actual images aren't nearly as detailed as you might get from a device with controllable aperture and shutter speed, not to mention expensive high-quality refraction lenses or mirrors. But these are artistic, and they're
a lot better than I would expect from something like this.
I don't know. This looks like it's from the 70s, 60s, and to me, it's a conversation piece that you can just plop down on the table and go, look at my Lego camera. I love it. So I definitely want this. So they updated it with comments from the author or from the creator of the Lego Ideas project. So I tried to use it before, but the hole's not small enough to make a picture sharp. He originally included the pinhole mod with the set, but decided to remove it due to lack of sharpness in final images. So yeah, pinhole cameras are more difficult to work with, but let's keep moving on. If you're interested in this, follow that link. Go and check it out. So this Rally Datsun 240Z is the coolest RC car that I've ever seen. When I saw this title, I said, I think I know who it is that built this, because I'm fascinated by the level of detail that they put. They have a YouTube channel, but I'm not sure. Okay. So it says, remember when you were a kid, remote control cars were cheap plastic toys that were great fun until they quickly and inevitably fell apart in unfixable shards. You know what I've always wanted is like high-speed Lego RC cars built so that you smash them into each other like a rally race or destruction derby. And it's all you do is you smash them into each other. It's a load of fun, and then you build it back up in some unique way. And then you drive around racing and you smash them into each other again, you know, maybe by accident, maybe on purpose, depending on who it is that you're playing against, who wants to hunt you down regularly. I don't have any experience with that. Anyway, well, the days are over. Now RC cars are high-dollar enthusiast machines built to look incredible and tuned for ultimate performance. And look at that thing. That looks like a, you know, what do they call that? That forced perspective camera thing?
Yeah. Is it force tilt or shift tilt? Or
shift
something?
tilt. Yeah. Tilt shift. Tilt shift.
Tilt shift.
Yeah. That's what we were struggling with the other day, and I had forgotten about it. So tilt shift photography. It looks like tilt shift photography. So Amber De Silva over at Jalopnik put this article together. It says, does anyone want to give me $270 so I can make vroom noises in the park? It isn't who I think it is, then it couldn't be. This is Scale Builders Guild on YouTube, so it is not the person who I thought it was. This is the Kyosho EP Phaser Datsun 240Z, and it's $270. Yeah, I used to.
Wow.
I used to be a hobbyist, prosumer photography person, and I would actually take pictures of people racing their RC cars in various tracks. And so like all of this would be a picture of mine that I would take, and I would put it in calendars and stuff like that. It was a real blast. People loved it. I'd actually lay on the ground and shoot as the cars are jumping over me and stuff like that. Yeah, those were the days.
I mean, this looks like a real, like full-size vehicle. The way it's filmed, it's neat.
So it may seem bigger than you initially thought when looking at that picture, but it's like 2 feet long. It's no slouch, it's got a lot of power. It is all electric. Some of the ones that I used to photograph were gas. And so it says the Phaser is stock chassis from Kyosho, one that's been put under every body from WRC STIs to Hokusuka GTRs to Drift Mustangs. The Phaser beneath this Datsun, however, is modified for rally use. Bigger lifted shocks, reinforced connecting parts, and a dust shield to keep the internal components free of dirt. You will lose that at some point. Wow, it has a lot. Wow. Sorry, I'm saying wow because the shocks. This thing goes completely flat, like the frame of the car.
Mm-hmm.
The range of motion lands it completely
at this price,
flat.
I would expect some pretty good mechanics.
It better go make me coffee for $270.
Uh-huh.
So the colors, the sponsors, fog lights, everything is all there. They say in this article. And the little RC Datsun, however, comes with some rally capabilities that the real car lacks. The Phaser chassis is 4-wheel drive, meaning the toy may well be quicker off the line than the 6-cylinder car it replicates. In video,
okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Again, though, and we had this conversation yesterday, as a matter of fact, the reason why it would be is because it's all electric.
Right, that's true.
Spin up torque. So you hit that on button and poof, off it goes. So if it can actually discharge even more power, it would be even more powerful, faster. Never mind. Anyway, you can follow the link over to this. You can actually go straight over to the video on YouTube. If you do a search for Destined to be a Classic Kyosho Phaser Mark II, you'll pull up this video easy peasy. But I would recommend going over to Jalopnik. We get the little headline from them a little bit, and then we punch you all over to our source so that you can read it yourselves, and we talk about it here in Wanted because I want this. I won't have time to play with it, but I want it. Let's keep going. Next article is over in Reality Hacker, and we're running really late. We have 3 more articles after this one, so I'll try and catch up. So this LG Ultra Gear gaming monitor just dropped from $1,700 to $1,000. You can probably count on it having a replacement right around the corner.
Right. I mean, that would be why the price is dropping. But if it's a good monitor, that's a significant price drop. If you were not, or if you're in the podcast, Mayor Watt just about lost it seeing the picture of the monitor.
See, I can't justify $1,700.
But $1,000 is a different matter.
That hurts too. But keep in mind, this isn't just LG Ultra Gear gaming monitor. This is a 45-inch ultra wide.
Is it a curved monitor? It looks like it might be
yes.
but I can't tell from the perspective.
It is. And the curve on this thing would make it land probably from one edge of my desk to the other. It's just expansive, wider than my arms on.
Well, especially when they get cut off.
Anyway, this is huge. 45-inch OLED, by the way. So true blacks. Saving $700 on this thing, bringing it down to $1,000 just kind of makes this something maybe approachable. And the reason why I say this, first off, cost for certain things is subjective. I just ended up buying a replacement monitor for 1/3 the cost of this monitor, but it's also 1/3 the size, and not OLED. And so if I would have just waited, then I could have gotten this. We don't get any kickback from this. Digital Trends might.
Yeah, no affiliate or anything.
Yeah, we have nothing to do with it other than the fact that Megawatt wants this. And I had been looking at getting one of these ultra wides, but the problem with an ultra wide is I don't have the individuality to throw something full screen on one monitor of it with great fidelity. If I want to capture my middle monitor using my capture card or OBS or whatever, it's much more difficult, in my understanding, at least, because it's a single device. Well, it says, why should you buy the Ultra Gear 45-inch OLED? Well, I would say it's because it's a 45-inch ultra-wide OLED screen for less than $1,000. It says 21:9 aspect ratio, so it's short and wide versus 16:9. So you don't. It is just narrower. You can actually, because it's narrower, your camera can be lower down too. So like my monitors are fatter, so my camera has to be up and angled down. Anyway, that's all inside baseball. Impressive contrast ratio, full color range, HDR10 support, DCI-P3, so it covers 98.5% of the color gamut. It has NVIDIA G-Sync and AMD FreeSync built in. So if you have a powerful video card, then this would be the one to go to because you can actually drive it without any issues. And it connects via HDMI 2.1 or DisplayPort 1.4. And yeah. And I don't know anybody that uses built-in audio from their monitor, so I won't even bother. It says it has DTS, but whatever. But I want it.
I mean, this is really a considerable price drop.
Looks pretty good to me.
I think you'd have to already be in the market for something like this to really consider it. Because, I mean, it's a big price jump, of course, from a more standard monitor.
Yep. And I would always recommend getting a table mount that pulls that monitor so you can get rid of the stand, and that way you can actually lower it or raise it to your ergonomic height. You don't have to worry about this. And if you put it on a little pole mount on the back of your desk, then you get all of this area underneath it to not have to mess around with it. But come on, if you saw my desk right now, yeah, it's like NASA. Anyway, let's keep moving. This next article is over in Technology Today. Hey Gen X, you can now pre-order the Atari 7800 Plus and it plays 2600 games. For $130, you get the console, a gamepad, Bentley Bears Crystal Quest, a sequel to the 1983 game Crystal Castles. Gail Cooper over at cnet.com put the article together. And yeah, it says, play like it's 1986. Wow. By the way, I love Atari. For the longest time, I had an Atari 2600, and it disappeared someday in history. And I think that someone I know took it because it's a collector's item. And it ended up basically in storage until, yeah. All because they like to collect things instead of, I think a toy should be played with.
This is meant to be used, right?
Yeah. So the Atari 7800 Plus is an updated version of the Atari 7800. It's now available for pre-order for $130. It includes a wireless gamepad and a new game called Bentley Bears Crystal Quest, which is a sequel to the 83 game Crystal Castles. It connects to modern TVs via HDMI, so you don't need to have that CRT TV or a converter of some kind and everything getting clunky. But look at that controller. Oh, man. But it's not like the Atari 2600 joysticks that I had, which were the flat sticks that you would...
Right. This is like a more modern controller, correct?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like a Nintendo controller.
Nintendo, yeah.
Yeah. So one wireless gamepad comes with the console, and you can buy additional ones for $35. You can also buy a wireless joystick for $35. A wireless joystick for $35? Oh, dear God. Do I have room for this in any, like we own a time machine.
Space.
Yeah. I don't think that I can ever. Bounty Bob Strikes Back, a sequel to Miner 2049er. Oh my God, I remember playing that. And Berserk, Space Duel. Oh, dear God. Hit me. I don't know what I'm going to do. $130 to jump into the nostalgia pool. Swim around like a nostalgic Scrooge McDuck that can only have 135 or 130 bucks in the pool. I don't know. I'd probably have to get that joystick. If the joystick is
I mean, I guess if you're going to get the Atari, you might as well make it more authentic.
Hold on. I've got to look to see. I'm going to scrub this to see if they have the other joystick. So, oh, it has cartridges and everything. Oh my. Yep. Come on. Are they going to show anything other than not just that built-in thing? Come on. Sorry, I'm scrubbing as holistically as possible. Yep.
It doesn't look like it has it.
Well, that sucks. Anyway, y'all can go over there to CNET and check out the rest of it. And we'll end up talking about it at some point because I'll probably end up getting it. I don't know. Maybe for Christmas. We'll see. I'm not getting it for Christmas. It just doesn't work like that in ohmTown. All right. Let's keep moving, though. We have to keep on moving. The VWID Buzz finally is priced, and it starts at $62,000, which put a real damper on my desire for this thing because I know other things about it. So it all just kind of ended up, I want this, but I want the Euro version of it. Okay, I'll just front load it that way.
Okay.
And here's why. So this is the ID Buzz, the modern take on the VW bus, the minibus. This article is over at autoblog.com. Joel Stocksdale put the article together. So the Pro is $62,000. The Pro S is $62,000. The Pro S Plus is $65,000, and the first edition is $67,000.
Oh wow! So it gets higher priced as you go, as most cars do.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted the Bronco, the original remade Bronco with the old school styling and not the sport. And so like that Bronco is limited edition nowadays, and it has a premium price too. And all of that does. This I don't think deserves premium pricing. It definitely does not deserve $62,000 out of the gate. So they go, it has 282 horsepower with a 91 kilowatt hour battery pack. But it says that's the variant that'll go first, but they don't say what variant that is. They just say the rear drive 282 horsepower variant will go furthest. It manages 234 miles, 335 horsepower dual motor all-wheel drive version, which is the only one that I would actually get, is 231 miles. Now you're at 160 miles destination, 160 miles back. Otherwise, you're going to have to sit around for 30 minutes and charge to 80%. If you find a place. So, right. I mean, it's a real flick to the pocketbook, so to speak. And so then you're talking about the interior of this thing and the styling and the size. This thing is a 3-row, essentially a minivan. The Euro version is a 2-row. So it's squatter.
Oh, okay.
And I think it gives it substantially better character. So it says this, of course, premium over the other major 3-row competitor in the EV space. The Kia EV9 starts at $10,000 lower on the high side, right? On average, on the high side. For the base trim with similar electric range, albeit less power. Then at $62,000 or $61,000, the EV9 can be had for far more range, 304 miles, though still less power. All-wheel drive EV9s offer more range plus more power, but are fairly comparable on price. EV9s also come very well equipped, like the Buzz, as they'll soon discuss, but they're going to talk about it later on. And then the Tesla Model X, $80,000, well above VW and Kia. So they're dead in the water. Plus, as much as I liked the color of a recent Tesla that I saw, the build quality on Teslas, basically...
I don't like the car wash mode.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Depending on the model you get, 20 or 21 inch wheels, I think it is. They say it comes with 20-inch alloy and animated LED lights and tail lights. Aftermarket vinyl two-tone customers might go for. They say different colors that you may not want, but you can always change it. You can get a wrap, a couple $1,000, unless you do it yourself. Anyway, moving up to the Pro unlocks a $1,000 option for two-tone paint scheme,
which is a must on a VW bus.
Sure, I mean you don't get that right out of the gate. You're gonna have to pay more. Yep. So and for $1,500 more, you can add an electrochromic panoramic sunroof. For the undefined charge, you can get a flex board, a panel that allows for a flat floor with the rear seats folded, along with some storage bins that fit below it. But for my taste,
I guess you might want that for surfboards or something.
No.
Or a work van.
Yeah. I don't know about surfboard. I mean, surfboard you'd probably put on top anyway.
I thought you'd put it on the roof. Yeah.
And that would well, there it is. Boink. It's almost like subliminal messaging they had there. But again, $62,000. No thanks. I just don't get why this car deserves a $62,000 price point. And the only thing I can think of is that you're trading on VW's provenance and nostalgia.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people like the VW bus, so...
Yep.
But that doesn't mean that translates into $62,000 or $67,000.
Yep. And I still have a down payment on a Canoe, and I'll probably never see it.
Canoe's in the headlines. I actually submitted something for tomorrow.
Hence the reason why I said probably not going to see it. Yeah. Well, stay tuned then for tomorrow's four-wheel tech. Maybe. Depends. We'll see. All right, folks, let's move on to the last article for today. Samsung Odyssey 3D is a glasses-free solution for immersive gaming. Sorry. I have to do it every once in a while. So the Nintendo 3DS was discontinued, but that doesn't mean glasses-free 3D gaming has to go away. In fact, Samsung just announced a monitor dubbed Odyssey 3D that could answer for anyone trying to recreate the magic of Nintendo's 3D handheld. Although I have an embargo on Nintendo. Ian Carlos Campbell over at pocket-lint.com put this article together. Gosh, I wish they would be able to buy pocket-lint.com. Wait, have we verified that like 16 times?
I think so.
That Pocket Lint goes to...
Let me go again.
Oh, it goes to some rando site.
Oh.
Yeah. Come on, y'all. Just pay the person $50,000 and give them that. They'll cough it up. Come on. So long in the tooth now. Anyway, Odyssey 3D isn't the first glasses-free 3D monitor available, and it technically doesn't use the same kind of technology to create 3D images as the 3DS did, but it could be your best option if you want more immersive gaming experience and don't want to figure out a way to use an old PlayStation 3D monitor. So this is it. And I'm not sure how they actually do this. I would love to have... this is a 27-inch or a 37-inch 3D monitor. The displays themselves are 4K QLEDs, which is Samsung's tech, with a rapid 1 millisecond gray to gray response time, which is so standard fare that it's almost not even worth including. But 165 hertz refresh rate makes it pretty amazing for gaming. Second, probably to 240, but what's going to be driving it at 240? A 4090. Who knows? Well, anyway.
Right, which nobody can afford.
Yeah, really. So you get support for AMD FreeSync Premium for artifact-free visuals, just like some of Samsung's other Odyssey monitors, and height-adjustable stands so you can position your eyes closer to eye level, which is better for ergonomics instead of tilting your head down. It's really bad. Messes up your spine right in the back there. You get a little lump. So for ports, single DisplayPort 1.4, two HDMI 2.1s, which sounds a bit limiting, but it means that you'll get high-quality connection from your computer to console. Again, it almost stands to not even say any of that. What?
True, but you have to work with the specs that you have.
Well, I mean, like putting this in the article, basically, I guess you get paid by the word. So my brevity, I spent all of my brevity answering a question from chat. Anyway, so the magic of Odyssey 3 is its ability to switch between 2D and 3D content on the fly. Acer's Spatial Vision feature, or Acer's Spatial Labs displays. It's ultimately similar to the mixture of that tech, using a combination of lenticular lens layered over a display with built-in cameras for eye tracking and something Samsung calls view mapping. The Odyssey 3D is able to send an image to each of your eyes and adjust that image as your head and eyes move.
Okay, this is odd, and now I'm thinking this should have been in Reality Hacker.
Well, WarCrafters, we can talk about it in WarCrafters too, because it's a gaming thing. Now, there's been similar technologies out there. You'll never get this with a camera. It's not possible to get it with a camera, because with the lenticular lens, it's actually projecting two different images slightly offset. So it's creating a depth of field that you can't get from watching it.
I see. Okay.
Not easily. I mean, you can probably, like, it can come and go maybe. But see how when they pivot it just a little bit, you could see some dimensionality to it. But when you're in person, the proximity of your eyes, the interpupillary distance, is being seen by the cameras, and it's sending two different signals slightly offset. And that to the lenticular lens, there's basically like a little wedge lens that's sitting in there. It has really fine angle of attack built into it. And so you see two different things. So they say it increases the field of view, the 3D image, beyond what you'd get out of older 3D displays. This is actually kind of what's used in VR headsets. And then in VR headsets, they use a thing called foveated rendering. So wherever your eyes are looking, that's the hot spot that it's actually rendering at maximum resolution. And so it's really interesting. They say that they've reached out to Samsung for details on the price of the Odyssey 3D, but expect it within the year. The price, it says, likely or high on the pricier side, but there's a hint at $2,000 based on competition for the 27-inch.
Right, but this came in at 27 and 37, right?
Yeah. So and since this actually looks like it reproduces this pretty well, I'm probably saying that it's going to be pricier, and even more so for the 37-inch. My only problem with spending that amount of coin is really because at the end of the day, this thing could fail like one of my monitors did 2 weeks after the warranty failed.
Exactly. The other thing is, I wonder how this does for just regular use.
It can be turned off. So 2D without the 3D component, it should be fine. So yeah, there we go. So what we're going to end up doing is putting it into 2D mode and then into 3D mode. And that little gap between the two makes it 2.5D. And we end up at the front page of Wanted over at ohmTown.com. It's like magic. Anyway, that's it for the show. Stay tuned. We're going to have the continuity report next. hopefully will be a shorter show for y'all so that you can go about your evening. But we've got one more show to go. Give me about 10 minutes to reset and we'll get going. I am
And then tomorrow.
Oh, you want to say it? Go for it. Go.
I was going to say, and tomorrow we'll have non-sequitur news and WarCrafters, Technology Today, and Four Wheel Tech.
4 more shows. And from that point on, actually, I won't be able to do it today because we're going to process something right after the last show. But I replay the entire week of shows, including the weekend shows. And so you'll get the ohmTown replay, which is all of the shows over the last week. What amounts to 12 shows worth of news. Yeah, 13. So anyway, we'll see you on the other side of the reset. Bye-bye.